Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I am Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you, sir?
Very, very well. How are you?
I'm absolutely wonderful. And with us today is the man, the myth, the legend, the only man that's ever been caught behind the dugout smoking heaters with Coach Thompson, the bullpen catcher for the ages for the Elder Panthers, Mr. Adam Baum. How are you, sir?
Thank you for that rousing introduction. I appreciate it.
So,
is that the best thing on your resume? Is that your favorite thing, I should say, on your resume?
It's probably, honestly, I think it's my favorite because, Coach Thompson's been there a really long time, and he said I'm the only person who's ever asked to do that. So it's like, I've got another prestigious first at Elder High School. And, the bullpen catching one's cool because it's like, I knew I wasn't good enough to be on the team, but that was like my way of contributing somehow to the game. Was like, I'm going to warm up these pitchers and I'm going to do it as best as I can. So I have a lot of fond memories from that time. It's pretty cool that it worked out the way that it did.
When did you graduate, Adam?
2006.
Oh, so you wouldn't have. Yeah, well, you might have been. Were you the bullpen catcher your junior year?
Yeah, I got a state ring.
So you got a ring.
Yes, sir.
Go, way to go.
And it says bullpen catcher on it too. That's the best part.
Oh, that is.
I feel like that's the best job. It's like backup quarterback in the NFL. Like you get to be on top of all the action, be part of it, and not have any of the pressure of performing.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And like the cool thing about baseball was like I got to be like a license to be an idiot in the dugout like during games, which was a ton of fun because baseball is cool like that, where like the stuff that you say and do, the other team is right there, like they can hear it, that they're a part of it as well. So it's like you get to impact the game in some small way, but it was fun.
So you would have played out at Hilly Field. One of my favorite memories of Hilly Field. Speaking of being fun, being goofy and doing crazy stuff, there was a guy that played ball for Elder when a few years before you, when I was there, a kid named Mark Caney was an infielder. And before games, every single game before games, they'd be taking ground balls, and he'd be at second base throwing back towards the opposing team's dugout, and he would purposely let one just fly way off target and hit the net and the fence right in front of their dugout just to wake everybody up a little bit.
Buzz the tower a little bit, make sure they're awake over there.
Exactly.
I'm a big Elder baseball fan. Went to tons of games with my dad over the years, and so big fan of Coach Thompson because he's a legend. He's had so many great Elder baseball teams, but that man scares me to death. Is he really that scary all the time? I mean, he seems like he's mad all the time, and he's a big guy, and he's got the deep, gravelly voice, and he's got the little rough thing. He's smoking cigarettes behind the dugout in between innings and stuff. Is he really like that intimidating?
In a game setting, yeah, for sure. Once you get to know him away from the baseball field, though, he's a lot different than that kind of persona that he puts on. But that's who he is. I mean, and baseball is such a big part of his life. Like, this is a guy who played a legendary coach at West High. I'm spacing on his name, but
coach, he just
Gary Federley, maybe.
No, that was the old Elder baseball coach before Thompson.
I thought he was at West Side too. Maybe not.
It's gonna bother me, but
I played in a golf league with him, and up until just 2 years ago, he was like 88 years old or something, still playing in this golf league. I can't think of his name.
Don Zimmer.
No, but that was the same. Like he played for a guy who was just like that, and a lot of times, like he wouldn't even have to say anything, and you would know that he was pissed off, man. He just carries this presence to him out there on the baseball field. And honestly, I have to think that that's a big reason why he's had a lot of the success that he's had, is because like he does rule with an iron fist, man. Either you do what he wants you to do, or you're not going to do anything at all. So I think like if you find a way to adhere to that and to give him max effort and give him what he wants, what he expects of you, like you kind of endear yourself to him forever in that regard. Like, I could call Coach Thompson at any time. We could talk about anything. It's just that's the type of guy he is too,
That's very cool. Yeah, he was. So many times I've seen him, and so he's coaching third, and so if you get thrown, if you take a third strike or you get thrown out on the base path or something like that for a dumb mistake, he's not going to scream at you from third base in the middle of an inning if it's not over. But he's got that, like staring at you, and he's like grumbling, cussing under his breath, and he's like shaking his head. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't handle that, I think.
Yeah, my favorite was when someone missed a sign.
Oh.
If it happens on whether you're in the box and you're hitting or whether you're out in the field. He would have verbal signs from the dugout when you're on defense. So if he said something with his voice, something generic, I know he still uses some of those same call outs, so I can't repeat them now. No, but if he said something, calling a play with that sentence that he says, and if you don't hear him or you don't execute it, that's a great way to get your ass ripped there, man. Not shy away from that at all.
I have some of my fondest memories were baseball tryouts and baseball conditioning at Elder. I tried out. I went all 4 years, even though I knew I wasn't going to make it junior and senior year. I absolutely loved playing for that guy. I had fun. I thought he was fun, but he was definitely scary as all get out.
He took it serious. He still does. It's been a while since I've gotten on the OHSA record book website, but I'm pretty sure, I want to say he's like top 10 all time in wins in the state of Ohio. And he continues to climb. So he's going to go down as one of the best high school baseball coaches in the history of the state, which is pretty crazy to think about.
No doubt. All right. Well, enough about Elder baseball. We obviously got you on here because we want to talk Xavier basketball, right? You're the beat writer for the Xavier Musketeers, but we are Elder graduates. You're an Elder graduate. Something big is going on in Elder right now. In this team, led by Michael Keehan and David Larkins and Scott Neiman, all these kids are just playing out of their mind. This might be the best all-around shooting team I've ever seen at Elder. Adam, you would probably know best because you've seen every single Elder basketball team since you were 4. But in your take as a former high school beat reporter, this team can shoot.
Yeah. When you told me that you wanted to talk about this tonight, I went online and I started looking up their stats because I was curious, like I've seen them play a couple times on the internet this year, haven't seen them play in person, but I was shocked at, number one, how many guys that they play consistently, like how many guys that they use that have played in all 22 games this year. And then like you said, dude, they got 4 guys that can knock down shots on the perimeter at a really high rate. I didn't realize that number one, that they had that much depth, and number 2, that they had that much shooting. I think that you look at the way this Elder team is built, and they aren't the biggest team. Like they got some big dudes, but they certainly aren't the most athletic team. But it's a classic Elder story, man. You guys know the tale. It's as old as time. They just go about it the right way. They do the little things that they need to do, and that stuff has a positive impact on the result, on the end result in games. And that's why we're going to see him play, I think, Xenia. Is that right? They got Xenia in the district, or the
Centerville. Yeah.
I think it might be at Xenia.
It's in Princeton.
Princeton?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's been a while too,
And to beat LaSalle to beat another GCL team to win the district championship to get to the regional tournament. And then if they beat Centerville, they play the winner of X and Moeller, which is definitely going to be one of the best games probably all year in the state. So they get to, if they get past Centerville, they get to get one of those two teams, which they split with both teams this year. So
both of them, yeah,
very exciting.
And that Moeller team. What's that kid, McCahey or McCat? I can't think of the kid.
Mahaffey. Yeah,
it's Jamie Mahafey's son, I think.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Well, that might be.
And I'm pretty sure he's. I think he's got offers from X and UC. I could be wrong about that, but he's garnering a lot of interest. I know that with what he can do. And you look at that whole Moeller roster, and it's like their whole starting five is going to be playing. I mean, maybe not all D1, but like the vast majority of them are going to be playing Division I basketball. I don't know that Elder has a guy on the roster that's going to be playing Division I basketball. So
they got Division I, but it's in football. Not basketball.
Yeah. Larkins.
Yeah.
What Kramer's built there, I feel like, and you can speak to this better than I can probably, because you saw it for several years covering, the high school sports, is once a program, and I think that's happened now with Elder football too. Once you get a couple of guys that go major Division I, that gets a lot of attention on that program, and more guys in the future from then on get more attention from Division I programs. And I feel like that's happening with Moeller basketball. The last few years, they've had guys go Division I, and they've even got somebody in the NBA now. And they've got, what's his name at West Virginia now, who's might be an NBA player. Yeah. And so so I feel like their top 2 or 3 guys every year, almost no matter how they are probably going to get some Division I attention, maybe major Division I. Logan Duncombe's going to Indiana, and then like you said, Mahaffey and one other kid, Alex Williams. I think he's got some offers.
I think he's committed to Furman. Maybe
that might be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. I feel like once you get that, like Elder sent a few kids to Ohio State, Notre Dame, and I feel like every year they get more attention for their best kids than, at least from what I used to remember. I feel like Elder's best players would, go play Division II football or something like that. And now their best players are playing major Division I, or actually at least getting scholarships there.
Yeah. And, I like that. You may see that and not think that, oh, it's not that big, but it's like, to these young high school kids who want to go and do that, that's a huge thing for them, that like, hey, I want to go somewhere where I know that they can produce guys that are going places where I want to go. And Moeller basketball has certainly done that, dude, especially recently. That's why it's kind of like a revolving door of talent there right now. Like guys see the success that their predecessors had, and they think, you know what? This is a program that can produce guys and take them to that next level. That's where I want to be. So I think you're right on the money, man.
Yep. Good for them. I'm sorry that their season's going to come to an end on Saturday, but that's too bad. That's the way it goes. So Chris, I'm going to let you take over so we can get into Xavier basketball here.
Well, all right, we'll start off. So I was on flipping around the old tweet box. I'm in Columbus today. I talked to Adam yesterday. We'll start off with this. I talked to you yesterday about coming on. You said you might be playing some golf. You inspired me to go out and catch 9 holes this afternoon. So my question to you is, did you end up playing?
I did. So the original plan was to get me, Byron, and Joe, Xavier's radio guys, and then Andy McWilliams. And we have a regular foursome. We play quite a bit. And unfortunately, Byron and Joe had some work stuff. I don't know that people fully realize that they both have full-time jobs in addition to calling Xavier games. So they had to cancel kind of last minute. So me and Andy Mack played, just us two. We went out here to Newman, played 9 holes. I love playing with Andy because every shot he takes, no matter if it's good or if it's bad, he immediately drops down another ball and takes another cut at it. Every shot is a double shot, which if you're the group behind us, you're probably pretty pissed off. But to be with him in the same cart, it's quite a treat, man. But this was my first round of the year, the new season. I got 2 birdies on the card, so I feel like that bodes well for the rest of the year, man. So, things are pointing up. So where did you get out and play, Chris?
I'm in Columbus tonight, so I was in a little place called the golf course at Dublin, up in Dublin. So it's a links course, wide open, perfect for first round of the year. No trees, no nothing. Huge fairways, really neat course. 44. So for the first round of the year, first 9, not too bad, not too shabby. Would you shoot with 2 birdies? What was that? 38.
I shot a 39. So I had 2 bad holes. I had, for the most part, my ball striking was on point all day. I struck it really well. I had one bad hole. Like my thing is I give away a lot of dumb strokes around the green. And I knew that my first couple rounds of the year, the thing that I have to worry about is my chipping. I haven't been practicing it. I haven't been thinking about it all winter. And today it bit me on one hole in particular. I hung a triple bogey on one hole. So, and those are going to happen. You got to power through them. You can't let them ruin your round. And I'm pleased to say that on hole number 9 today out here on Newman Red, I birdied that sucker. So it's like, I'm going to carry that into my next round.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Newman Red. So that's where we play. That's my golf league is at Newman, switching up every week.
What nights?
Thursday.
Okay. I'm in a Miami Whitewater league on Wednesdays.
There you go. I'm going to tell you, though, when you play golf, until you get into a league, you don't realize what that around the green stuff is all about, because you dump one, you're like, bring that thing back here. And you go again. I purposely now will keep the driver in the bag, hit an iron, just so I don't have to hit any soft chips around the green, because I'm so terrible around the green. I'd rather take a full swing in at it.
I hear you. Yeah. And that's the quarter swings, the half swings. Like I am no good at those, man. I'm the same way. It's like, give me a full swing at something or else it's going to be bad probably. So
exactly right. So name dropping right off the bat. Some of as for a guy like me who has been a Xavier Musketeer fan since literally the day I was born. To get to play a round of golf with Byron Larkin would be unbelievable. So you also, though, Andy Mack, when Andy Mack lost his job, I was in like 7th grade, and me and my dad started a website, Bring Back Andy Mack. We got a ton of we were on the news. We got a ton of signatures, took it up to 700 or Clear Channel or whatever, trying to get in. We wanted Andy back, man. We loved Andy Mack.
You know what I call Andy is I call him the encyclopedia. So
no doubt.
I knew Andy Mack. I knew his name. I had heard some of his more famous radio calls over the years. And when I got this promotion to cover Xavier, one of the cool things I found out, I didn't expect this at the time, but they let me come to practices and I get to watch practice. And so the first few practices, I'm sitting there, I'm kind of, I'm all by myself. I don't really know anyone. Shannon Russell at the time still covered the team for the Athletics. She was there. So, I'd get to talk to her, but I remember the first day that someone introduced me to Andy Mack, and he sat down right next to me. And this was the very first time we had ever met. And he proceeded to talk my ear off for about 90 minutes of practice. And it was all Xavier basketball history. And it was like, he was picking games from 30 years ago, and he was like relaying vivid details from each one of those games. And I walked away from that practice and I was like, I mean, this dude just told me more stuff about Xavier basketball than I'll probably ever learn doing this job regularly. And, he's been a really valuable friend to me. Like, whenever Andy calls me, I know it's going to be like a 15 or a 20-minute conversation, but I'm probably going to come out of it learning something that I didn't know before he called. So he's a good dude. And the other thing is, like, he's a grinder on the golf course, man. Like, I got a lot of friends that play golf. No one calls me and asks me to play golf more than Andy Mack does. He loves it. He's got a new hip. He's feeling good. And he hits it well too, The other thing is, like, every once in a while when I play with him, I like to challenge myself a little bit, So I like to play from the back tees, but sometimes I will go up and I'll play with him on the forward tees. And the thing that I like about that is, normally I don't even keep a score when I do that, but it's kind of like you're playing the golf course, a different golf course, because you have different yardages into the greens. So you're hitting different clubs into the greens. And it's like, it kind of changes the course a little bit. So it's a little bit fun to play with him, but he's a treat, man.
Yes, he is. One of the greatest guys. Been able to talk to him quite a few times, and he is a phenomenal human being. That being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into the Xavier team. What do we got to do here? Is a win against Butler tomorrow enough by itself, or are they going to have to pull an upset off Creighton on Thursday?
Well, I think one of the things that is in Xavier's favor right now is that a lot of bracketologists still have them in the field right now today, even after losses to Georgetown and Marquette. So I didn't expect that. I thought that you lose to Georgetown, you lose to Marquette, you're probably going to be out of the NCAA tournament field. It seems like at least like more than half of the brackets on Bracket Matrix have Xavier still in the field. So I think beating Butler and losing to Creighton, I think there is still a chance that Xavier makes the NCAA tournament. I think that they need a little bit of help on the bubble, though. They can't have too many bids get stolen from some of these mid-major conferences and things like that. Now, the thing is, like, you beat Butler, you lose to Creighton, and no matter what, like, it's going to be a nerve-wracking couple of days until Sunday. Like, that's why I think you beat Creighton. You find a way to beat Creighton and you eliminate some of those nerves. You feel a lot better about your situation. But I do think, 1-1 this week at the Big East tournament, there is a chance that they still, can still get in. But you lose Butler tomorrow night, and that's all she wrote, man.
No, there's no doubt. So watching, you get to talk to Coach Steele and some of the players during your guys' Zoom interviews and things like that. As a fan who has watched Xavier for a long time, this team, the ball seems, they move the ball, but it seems like they just move it slow. When they start making crisp passes and penetrate the lane, they go on incredible runs, but they get in these lulls where they just kind of pass the ball slowly around the perimeter. Has there been any talk of what are the good and the bad that Steele's been talking about that he wants this team to do in order to get back to their old self from the beginning of the year?
Well, I think to your point, especially in these last two games, the situation that you just described has been how they started the game. And, this team, like, they aren't built to play from behind like that. So I think, if anything, he wants that offense to come out of the gate strong and sharp and, hey, move the ball crisp, like you said, and work for good shots. They haven't done that the last two games. And you try to play from behind and turn your offense on at halftime, and that's not going to get it done. You need your offense to be there for 40 minutes in these games, the same way that you need your defense there for 40 minutes in these games. And honestly, a lot of it is, I think a part of it is the inconsistency with Paul Scruggs and Zach Fremantle. I think that there's a way too often where if those guys are indecisive or those guys aren't executing and moving the ball and working for good shots, then no one else is doing that. So it's like, this team is going to be at its best when Zach Fremantle and Paul Scruggs are playing to their potential like that, where they're doing those little things and they're getting everyone involved and they're not stagnant on offense. Because as we saw these last two games, man, like they've been downright ugly in the first half offensively, and it's led to 2 losses. So it's like that to me is the biggest thing I'm looking for on Wednesday night is how they start this game offensively. I don't think you don't want to let Butler hang around in this game, man. You certainly don't want to let them get off to the good start either.
The close games that Xavier was winning in the beginning of the season were games that they started off up 10, 12, 13 points at some time. The other team made that run to get back at them. And you're right, that is a totally different team than what's been going on the last few games where they just get behind right out of the gate and can't do anything. And it seems like they're getting that Fremantle and Scruggs are consistently in foul trouble. I mean, not just them. It seems a lot of, who was it the other day who had 4 fouls? It was Carter had 4 fouls in the first half. I mean, it's the depth that we were all so excited about at the beginning of the year. I mean, obviously you lose Nate Johnson, you lose Ben Stanley, you lose these guys that can be key players, and that kills a little bit of your depth. But you got guys like Kiki Tandy, and I know I talk about this. I've talked about it all 3 times you've been on. Sometimes he gets out in front of himself. Last night or the other day, last game they played, he gets in the game, gets a fast break, and runs faster than the ball, trips over himself. But he has been playing pretty well when he gets in. He's been playing better, but he seems to be non-existent in the second half still. Is this a practice deal, or is this what's up with, I don't know how to even explain it. How come more guys aren't getting playing time?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like when you ask about this, when you ask Travis Steele about this, it's generally the same answer. It's, the playing time is earned in practice. It's kind of this coach speak.
Right. Yeah.
And the reality is, like, I'm not a high level basketball coach. Travis Steele has forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know about it. But I think that they created a scenario with Kiki where he's afraid to make a mistake, because you look at how they've played him this year and the way that they've used him. And it's been like, all right, Kiki, we're going to put you in. And then as soon as you make a mistake, we're going to pull you right back out. And I think that has gotten into his head a little bit. And yeah, he's fought through it. The way he played against Georgetown was really good. He didn't get a chance in the second half against Marquette. But it's like there have been times this year where I've thought to myself, he looks like he's a guy who's playing not to mess up, as opposed to just go out there and let the game happen. If you screw up, you screw up. But that would be one of my bigger knocks against Travis Steele this year, is the fact that, you have this talented guy who can change the dynamic of your team in a matter of seconds with the way that he can get hot and shoot the ball. And he doesn't look confident to me. He doesn't look like the Kiki that we saw last year as a freshman, or that we saw earlier this year against Toledo when he had 24 points. And that's where I feel like they've probably done a little bit of a disservice to him in the way he's been managed this year. But, the way that Steele talks about him, like, I also wouldn't be shocked to see Kiki have an impact this week at MSG. So that's the kind of year it's been, man.
And if you still look at his numbers, like, per game off the bench for bench players is still real high in the Big East. He's still got some good numbers for the little low minutes that he's getting to play. But to me, he's that kind of guy who he needs to be out there and be free. That's the way he plays. He needs to be free to make some mistakes and take some bad shots, because some of those bad shots are going to go in, and that's going to light a fire under that kid, and he can score 12 points in 30 seconds, just like that. Anyway, let's talk about Steele, because this dude, I just want to say, I like Travis Steele. I don't think anybody on Twitter has any idea about how to substitute people in and out of a college basketball game. I don't think anybody on Twitter has any idea what it's like to try to coach these kids at this high of a level, anything like this. I don't know how you do it, brother. I don't know how you deal with if I send a tweet, I don't send a tweet out. I send like 3 tweets out a year. You're sending like three tweets an hour. You got comments galore. I shoot down in those little comments every once in a while.
No, don't do it.
I'm like, oh my God, these people are ridiculous.
They're crazy. And this is where I kind of land on this whole thing. It's like, I understand the expectations. I understand that Xavier fans have become accustomed to a certain way of living, a certain lifestyle when it comes to winning and success. And I can appreciate the fact that they want that every year, year in and year out. Like, I think the fact that the fan base feels that way is a reflection of how the program ultimately feels in terms of what they want to be and how they want to play. But I also think that a large percentage of them have forgotten how hard it is. A lot of them have been spoiled over the years by the success that Xavier has had. And I think that they look at a new coach who's in his third year, who hasn't really been able to find any sort of consistent success, certainly not any realistic postseason success. And I think that there's this impulse to just pull the ripcord and say, you know what, this isn't working. And I talked to someone earlier tonight and I was like, this is my third year covering Xavier for the Enquirer. So my first year was Travis Steele's first year. If I only had 3 years to figure out how to do this job perfectly or to the best of my ability, I'd already be doing something else. I don't know, where along the lines people started thinking that, that this is so easy that he should already have this figured out and he should already have, 3 NCAA tournament teams and a Sweet 16. And, it's like, to me, a lot of the expectations are a little bit unrealistic. And to your point about Twitter, I want to have a conversation with Travis Steele about that, just about how he's dealing with it. Cause I've sort of asked him about it before and he says oh, I don't pay attention to the noise. I don't see any of that, but it's like, people are tagging me in tweets with Travis Steele after games, just completely shitting on him.
Yeah.
If you don't see that, congratulations, man. You're one of the few people who have figured out how to completely ignore that noise. But it's like, on the other side of it, Travis Steele has had to deal with people doubting him from the jump. From year one, he's had people who thought that he can't do this job. And you know what? Maybe he doesn't get it together. Maybe he gets a year or two more and he still doesn't get it figured out. And that's the end of it. And you know what? That's a realistic possibility. But if he gets through this and he figures out how to get a team, how to maximize the potential of his teams and maybe go on a run, maybe win or compete for a Big East championship, make a NCAA tournament run. Xavier's going to have a really tough coach, a coach who had to sort of weather this storm from the very beginning of his career. I mean, I don't remember what it was like when Mac took over or Sean Miller took over, but to have people doubting you immediately, telling you that you can't do this thing, it's either something that's going to break you or it's going to make you unbreakable. It's one or the other. You know what I mean?
It was different back then because you didn't hear it like they hear it, right? With Twitter and all that stuff. So back in the day, when Mac got brought in, there was rumbles about people not exactly sure how he worked with the Xavier way, right? And there was thoughts of it. He turns out to be probably the best coach that Xavier's had, or has taken them further when it comes to as good of a team as we've ever had. That being said, Xavier fans don't realize that we were in the MCC, we were in the A10, winning every single year because we were in a mid-major. Whether we wanted to be called a mid-major or didn't want to be called a mid-major, we were in a mid-major and we won like crazy. We finally got to go into the Big East, and you got to realize that it ain't all sugar plums and fairies or whatever they say, when you get there. We're not beating up on Temple every year. We're not beating up on Rhode Island every year. Lamar Odom only comes around once every 40 years for a team like Rhode Island. So you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff in the A10. Whereas now we're in the Big East. We used to get on It was UC and Xavier the same way. UC and Xavier, Conference USA, A10, did nothing but win.
Yep.
Big East comes around. UC struggled in the Big East. Xavier's going to struggle in the Big East. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like Travis Steele is the first coach in Xavier history who had to start his career in a high major conference.
Exactly.
Like, the Big East is just every single team has like top 50 recruits on it. I mean, Villanova has like a starting 5 of 5-star recruits. Like, and it's like that every single year. So to me, I personally feel like as painful as it might be, maybe a little bit of patience is the answer with dealing with this. And because I think if you rush it right now and you say, you know what, he's not the guy, let's get him out, let's bring someone new in, you've essentially given Colby Jones, Dwan Odom, CJ Wilcher, Zach Fremantle, you've given them the opportunity to leave now. You've said, okay, we're gonna make a coaching change. And you know about coaching changes in 2021 is it's a free roll for anyone currently on the team. Just pick wherever they want to go to next because it's a coaching change. So
yep.
That's the risk that you run if you pull the ripcord too soon in this situation. But I don't think that they're going to have to worry about it this year. I don't feel like he's coaching for his job at this moment. Now that's like a good result this week could go a long way towards changing the sentiment around Travis Steele, but he's going to get another year at least to sort of see what he can do with developing some of those young guys.
Man, there's a learning curve that's involved in this. He just didn't have the ability to set his learning curve in the A10. He has to do his learning curve in the Big East against Villanova and Providence and Seton Hall.
I remember when Sean Miller's first year, I felt like he looked like a deer in the headlights a lot of times. I felt like he didn't look ready for even that job before they were in the Big East. And by the end of the second year, I'd say he started looking a lot different. And then after that, he became a really good coach. But I remember specifically thinking that about Sean Miller, like this guy was just not ready. And I don't necessarily feel that way about Travis Steele, but kind of going back to what you guys were talking about, it's, it takes more than just a year to get, especially at this level, to get everything, all your ducks in a row and get your culture set and then with the revolving door kind of that they've had with guys missing for COVID and, getting hurt and leaving and that kind of thing, that certainly does not help. So I feel like every coach should get a pass this year, no matter how well
I agree.
or they do. But so hopefully even Doherty's listing the next coaches in his most recent article.
I saw that.
I'm like, oh my gosh, Doc, take it easy, man.
Jumping the gun here a little bit.
Was Kelsey on the list?
Yes.
He
He's got to be number one. He's got to be number
one. I'm rooting for it, man. I'm telling you, I want to see Winthrop win a couple of games. We don't have to get into Winthrop, but
when Pat Kelsey was a coach, that I had a tryout with Pat Kelsey when he first started coaching
at Elder, right?
At Elder, he was the freshman basketball coach at Elder my freshman year.
I used to go. I forget the name of them. His basketball camps that he used to have. He used to have these Pat Kelsey summer skills camps things, and I used to go to them. So I'd have to bring that up to him at some point. I've interviewed him once for a story that I did on the 93 Elder basketball team that won state. But
my favorite basketball team of all time, by the way.
Who was the best interview? Who was the best person interviewing that?
That's a tough question. Like Pat Kelsey was awesome to talk to. He had a lot of cool things to say, but it was also cool talking to Dave Ginn.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because Dave is like, I don't think he could care less about the spotlight at all, and like he's not about pomp and circumstance. Like you remember that dude, like he was a beast, and like interviewing him, like about those days. It was fun to hear all that stuff come out of his mouth about what he remembered and some of those memories. So I'd have to go with him, honestly.
My childhood, the only thing I remember from my childhood and going to Elder basketball games with Adam and his dad was Dave Ginn dunking, and the ball would bounce off his head every time. He'd dunk it, and it would come through the basket and hit off his head and go flying. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world when I was, whatever, 10 years old.
That's cool.
I love that team.
And then he was my father-in-law's next door neighbor, and my dog got in his yard, and he told me he was going to shoot my dog if he comes over in their yard. And
you know what else was crazy about that team was the run that Johnny Miller went on, whose son is on the current Elder team. I think his name's JT Miller, right?
Yep.
Dude, I think he averaged like 25 points per game in the playoffs on that run to state that year.
He was my favorite player. We had sleepovers when we were kids for our birthdays and stuff. And we had our buddies over, and I don't know if you guys ever did this or if it was a little before your time or whatever, but we did puffy paint shirts. Did you guys ever see those or do those? So it was like this, it was these little like tubes of paint. And
he's too young to remember the puffy paint.
But you could like make your own shirts or whatever, and like with this paint, and it would stay, and you could wash them and stuff. And so I forget what it was. Probably it must have been that year. So I was like 11 or something. My birthday party, we all made our own shirts, and I made a John Miller shirt, like a jersey shirt, when I was that age for my shirt. So
wore that thing proudly, didn't you?
And I actually wore it to, I can't believe I was like comfortable enough to do that because I'm embarrassed about everything now, but I wore it to Elder basketball camp that next summer, and Coach Schoenfeld loved it. He told me they called him Prime Time. His nickname was Prime Time when he was in school, and that was so cool. And oh my gosh, that was just
stud softball player for a while too.
Oh, really?
He was such an all-state wide receiver, by the way.
He was he's still right now could walk out on a softball field and hit the ball wherever he wanted at any time. The dude was a star.
I've had a few beers with him. You know, it was probably like a couple years ago. It was the last time I got to really hang out with him and see him, but he's a good dude, man.
Him and Johnny Lammers used to run. Him and Johnny Lammers ran Delhi Park softball league for a while. Softball. And Johnny Lammers, my mom and dad's next door neighbor, so we used to go over. Get to hang out with him every once in a while. It's that's a good dude. Chad Camstra was on that team. One of the greatest scorers in Elder history.
Witt.
Coach Witt. Biggest transfer ever in a Elder BIBL coaches or teachers versus kids. Biggest tryout ever in that game.
Yes, sir.
Did you guys have that? Did the winner of the intramurals play the teachers?
Yes.
All right. So Coach Witt threw up like 17 bricks my senior year, and we gave him 4 times the hell about it.
He had an off day, huh?
You know, it doesn't happen often, but
I think his boy might be on Elder's team.
He's a sophomore. Yeah, he's a sophomore. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I have one question about X, and then I'm good. We kind of mentioned a bunch of guys. Is there a guy that needs to have his best game for this, or his best 2 games maybe, for this team to at least beat Butler and maybe Creighton? I mean, is there besides Paul Scruggs or Zach Fremantle, is there is it CJ Wilshire? Is it Odom? Is it Jones? Or is it Jason Carter? Is there one guy that you feel like if he has a great game, they win 2 games? Or if he has a great tournament, I should say, they win 2 games?
To me, I think as crazy as it is to pick a freshman, I think it's Dwan Odom. And the reason that I say that is because what he brings with his ability to defend, take care of the basketball, and the way that he can put pressure on the rim. Now, part of me feels like, yeah, they need a guy like Adam Kunkel or someone to hit some shots on the perimeter to knock in some threes. Like, that's going to be huge for this team. I think a lot of the games that they've struggled in this year, they've struggled to find someone who can knock down shots who's not named Nate Johnson. Now they don't have Nate Johnson. So, like, I'd also be tempted to say Adam Kunkel because I think he can have a huge impact on the offense. Same with Kiki Tandy, but like, to me, Dwan Odom, like, he has the ability to control the game because he either has the ball in his hands a lot or he's defending the guy with the ball in his hands a lot. And I thought, I went back and I watched Xavier beat Creighton because I was just kind of curious, like, hey, what really worked in that game? And the one thing I kept noticing was like Dwan Odom's fingerprints were all over that game. He defended at a high level the entire time he was in there. He was able to get into the teeth of the defense and score around the basket. He even knocked down a few big shots on the perimeter. But like, I think that's such a common theme with this team is like when he brings it and he plays really well, it generally has a good impact on the rest of the team. And, you know, realistically, you could probably pick any of the three freshmen because I think that they're all three going to be starting again in this game. But to me, I just think Dwan Odom's like his motor, his athleticism, he has like an ability to take over a game, and it doesn't necessarily have a ton to do with scoring the basketball. So I think that's going to be huge this week for him.
Kind of reminds you of a young Paul Scruggs, right?
Yeah.
Didn't always have his fingerprint on the scorebook side when it came to points, but when Xavier played well his sophomore and junior year, he was usually had 6-7 assists, a couple steals, and played well on defense. So I agree with you. I like that thought. I think that Dwan Odom kid's gonna be a stud. I think he's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see him jump over somebody.
It's gonna happen.
So if they beat Butler, lose to Creighton, and get in the tournament, what kind of seed are you looking at, do you think?
Probably a 12 would be my guess. 11 or 12. I think right now, like, the nice thing about Bracket Matrix is it pulls in about like, I think there's 120 different bracketologists on there right now. And what it does is it shows you each bracket and where they have. So the seed that Xavier is currently at on Bracket Matrix, they're a 12 seed, and they're literally the last at-large team in the field. So, you beat Butler, you lose to Creighton. Yeah, you probably need one or two more things to go your way on the bubble to make you feel good about it or to get you there. But they're probably going to be on that 12 line if that happens. If they beat Creighton, I think that you could make an argument they're an 11, probably a 10 at best. But yeah, at that point, you beat Creighton, and who knows? You need to win two more and you win the whole thing, and maybe jump up to a 9 seed or something like that. But a 12 seed's pretty good for making a run in the NCAA tournament.
Sure. It's and this team could lose this is the biggest up and down team that
they're hard to predict.
Yeah.
But not impossible if they play great, if they turn a corner and play great and they get past Creighton, and Villanova just lost Gillespie and just lost to Butler, I think, in the last couple of games. I mean, not impossible, right?
Sure.
No.
Definitely.
No.
All right. So Adam, we've kept you forever here, bub. We do a Mount Rushmore every week. Adam,
I'm excited about this. I did some research.
I was going to say, you can choose to pass if you want to go.
Yeah,
but
you want to
welcome to stay for sure.
All right. So Adam's Mount Rushmore for this week is the Mount
first?
Rushmore. Huh?
Is Adam Schmidt going first or am I?
You're going first. I'm just saying he's the one who picked it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's actors and actresses.
Actors and actresses. Mount Rushmore of actors and actresses. What do you got?
And this is just to be clear, this is your Mount Rushmore. It doesn't necessarily, you don't have to give us reasons why, they are the best.
don't give me Daniel Day-Lewis or any kind of goofball stuff like that.
No. You know what Daniel Day-Lewis is? He's low-hanging fruit, man.
Yes.
Easy answer. And I'll tell you this, my Mount Rushmore, the only criteria is that you were in a bunch of movies that I really loved. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's pretty simple for me from that perspective. And I tried to be fair. You know, when I started thinking about this initially, it was like, you know, I kind of picked like, you know, people that upon like I really go back through their catalog and I'd say, you know what, like that was a great movie. Maybe they were in one other one that I really liked. But what I settled on was number one, my pinnacle is Tom Hanks. And the reason for that is I could name probably 10 to 15 movies of his that I like still love to this day. If they're on TV, I'm going to watch them, you know. Like if you go back through and look at Tom Hanks's films, it's ridiculous how many unbelievable movies that dude has been in.
No doubt.
There's one. Number two is my boy, my main man, Denzel Washington.
Okay.
I love Denzel. Number three is a bit of a wild card, and it's Robin Williams.
I love it.
I'm big on Robin Williams.
This is very reminiscent of what my page looks like. So
really, I like it.
Love Mrs.
Well, I have a feeling that my fourth is going to be one that probably neither of you pick, and it's Frances McDormand. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Maybe if I saw it.
It's a woman.
Her.
You've seen Fargo?
Yes.
I never did.
She's the main character.
Yep. He's the sheriff or the cop or whatever.
Yeah, she's actually married to a Coen brother, and I love the Coen brothers. And she's in a lot of Coen brothers movies. Like, she is probably going to win an Oscar this year for this new movie that just came out called Nomadland. That's getting a lot of praise. But she's like, the other thing that I really like about actors and actresses that make them stand out to me is when they can do a variety of things, like when they can be serious, when they can be funny. And like all four of the people that I just picked can kind of do all those things. So that's one of the things I really respect and look for in that category. But I'm curious to see what you guys came up with.
First of all, do you have any honorable mentions? Were there any like on the edge that you're
Oh,
like,
yeah. Kevin Costner was on the edge. Harrison Ford, I like his stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. I like it. I feel like that is a superb list, mostly because I've got a couple of them and a couple that were, well, one of them was on my almost list. So I'll go next. So I went Will Smith, because Will Smith that's who I wanted to be growing up, just in general. Tom Hanks, obviously, for all the same reasons you said. Denzel Washington, because best looking dude in the history of anything. And of course, one of my favorite lines, close your eyes and it's Halle Berry.
Wait, is Halle Berry the one?
Halle Berry is the answer. Yeah. Now, honorable mention. See, now if I did like what I was originally thinking, I went Pauly Shore, Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, and Robin Williams.
Okay.
But I figured Pauly Shore probably wouldn't make the cut for most people. But however, if you go back and look at some early Pauly Shore movies, every one of them were good. Encino Man, Biodome, my favorite movie ever. Not favorite movie ever, but one of my favorite movies ever. You had Jury Duty. You remember Jury Duty? Oh my God, it was hilarious. So anyway, I think the dude.
That's a dark horse pick. I like that though.
I love Pauly Shore. That's my guy.
Okay, for
You're
me, number one is Tom Hanks. There's no Number
Across the
one.
Easy.
board.
Easy.
The
Easy.
people's actor.
Easy.
A pretty clear number 2 for me is Gene Wilder. I love
Oh.
Wilder.
Nice.
Um,
That was your dad, though. Your dad was a big Gene Wilder fan.
he likes Gene Wilder, but
Yeah, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Adam.
that's
when we
one of the
grew up-
movies. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, go.
No, when we grew up, that was what we watched. We went over to the Schmidt's house, and you watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's just what you did.
That was the go-to.
You go to
Go-to.
Adam. You go to 39-year-old Adam Schmidt's house, and it's on TV. It's on TV. It's that's what's on. So that Young Frankenstein, the movies he did with Richard Pryor, he's everything he did was good. I had Will Smith on mine as well. I almost everything he's been in that I've seen has been
Nice
fantastic.
to hear that coming from you.
And
I didn't think you have him.
Oh, love Will Smith, and honestly, Fresh Prince plays into it too. I mean, because
doubt.
he and my fourth one is going to be the same way. I loved the movies that he was in, but also one of my favorite television shows. He was one of the main characters in that too, and I think that counts because that's still an actor, not necessarily movie stuff. But so my fourth one, I'm putting Michael J. Fox. You might laugh at that. Loved Michael because I loved all the Back to the Futures. I was a huge Teen Wolf
That's a
fan.
good pick.
I don't know if you ever saw Teen Wolf, Adam, but
Yes.
it's like a terrible 80s movie, but I grew up on it and loved it.
Shoot it, fat boy.
Yeah. I had
Greatest line ever.
I had Kevin Costner, Will Ferrell, Morgan Freeman, and Paul Rubens, which you guys might think I'm crazy, but I was a huge Pee Wee Herman fan. I know that's an off the wall one.
On screen, off screen, whatever you like.
Oh,
On
I
screen.
got something for you guys. You guys both picked Will Smith, and I heard something interesting not too long ago. I heard that Will Smith turned down the part of Neo in the Matrix to be in Wild Wild West. Did you guys know this?
Holy cow! Really?
Can you picture Will Smith as Neo in the Matrix? Like that would have been like Keanu Reeves ended up being pretty sweet. But Will Smith in the Matrix, man, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, but there's nobody else that could have did Wild Wild West.
That's a good point. Yeah.
There is no one else. That Jim West was made. that character was built around Will Smith.
No, those were some good picks, gentlemen.
I like it.
Right.
Well, we'll definitely let you know next time you come on. Maybe we'll get a postseason report from you.
Yeah, for sure.
And let you know what we got coming up then.
This is now this is now the headquarters of the Tom Hanks fan club, by the way.
Exactly. Or maybe we'll reconvene when Elder wins the state championship here in a few weeks.
Yes, sir. We'll talk
like
Tom Hanks and Elder basketball.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get Coach Witt on here.
I could easily do an hour just solely about my favorite Tom Hanks movies.
Oh,
I mean, right now they're just spinning through my head. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
what's great is
my original favorite movie when I was a little kid was Big. I love that.
Big.
That was
Yeah.
love it.
Big. And the best part about that movie is you can still watch it today and it holds up. Like a lot of his movies are like that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Ryan.
Oh, classic.
How about Philadelphia with both he and Denzel?
Yeah. Best of both worlds right there.
Absolutely.
Good work, Adam Schmidt. Good work on you.
The cool thing is I don't know why, but there are still I don't really watch a lot of movies, but everything I've ever seen Tom Hanks in, I've been like, this guy's incredible. He can do everything. And also by everybody's words in Hollywood, like one of the nicest, most down-to-earth guys too. Like he seems and sounds like he's a really cool guy, just a regular guy.
Yeah.
So that's, that helps too. But there are a lot of Tom Hanks movies I still have not seen. So I feel like I still have like this thing to look forward to. Like I'm going to see them. But just for some reason, there's still some that I haven't seen. So I got to get on that after basketball season.
Here's one. If you haven't seen, you should put it at the top of your list. The Terminal.
Okay. I've not.
Directed. Okay. Basically, long story short, Tom Hanks plays a foreigner who doesn't speak any English. He comes to America. While he's in the airplane, he's from a country called Krakosia. while he's in the airplane coming to America, a coup overthrows the government in his country. And so when he lands, he doesn't have a passport anymore from an actual country that can allow it. So he has to live in this airport terminal for a really long time. And it's just like he learns how to speak English. It's a great story, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
sounds really cool. I'm totally good for that.
Steven Spielberg directed it. It's a great movie.
Anytime that Tom Hanks gets to do a voice, I'm 100% in. Like Forrest Gump, something like that. If I get a foreigner voice out of Tom Hanks, I love it. A huge underrated classic by that man. One of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. And I can't even think of the name of it. It's the cartoon, The Train. What's it called? The Polar Express.
Polar Express.
Oh, yeah, the Polar Express.
Excellent.
Unbelievable. He plays like 6 people in that thing.
He's a generational talent. And oddly enough, almost a year ago to the day, I was sitting in Madison Square Garden watching Xavier lose to DePaul when we found out that Tom Hanks had contracted the Rona.
That's right.
Same day that Rudy Gobert touched all the microphones.
That's right. Yeah. How'd that work out?
And either yesterday or the day before, I think, one of the last couple of days was the anniversary of The Burbs. The movie The Burbs. You guys remember that one? That was, I mean, he was pretty young then, but
very young.
The Burbs.
There you go. All right, Adam, we've kept you way too long, brother. We still got a comedy segment we're going to do. We watch a comedy segment every week, and you don't have to listen to all that stuff. We got to let you get out of here, dude. It's past your bedtime.
Now it is, right? Right. Now we're approaching bedtime status now. I appreciate you guys having me on as always, man.
Hey, man, we appreciate it too. Thanks for everything you do for us, buddy. We really appreciate it. And good luck with writing, and hopefully you get to go see some actual games and get to go do something here.
Yeah, that'd be good. And hey, we'll have to get out and play golf at some point. 100%.
You let me know. I got a pretty flexible job, and I can get out anytime, especially if you're over on the west side. You know, I can get over to Newman in about 10 minutes.
I believe it. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good, brother.
Thanks,
all right, boys. Have a good night, man.
See you, man.
Adam Baum, everybody.
Once again, that dude gives us so much of his time. He went over an hour. We went over an hour with that.
I know,
man.
And he's so nice. He's not one time did I feel like he's trying to get off either. You know, like
no. He even did research for our Mount Rushmore.
I know. How cool is that? More than more research than I did.
I was just gonna say more than likely more research than I did. More than likely.
That's so cool. Yeah, we definitely always appreciate Adam coming on. So, Chris, we got to jump into. We don't want to get too late for us either. So we're gonna get into Erik Myers. I think we both just found out about this guy and got a chance to watch him. Before that, I have a quick story for you. So it's been really nice here where we live in Cincinnati for the last couple of days. And so very exciting when it starts to warm up like this and you know, you start feeling spring coming. It's just such a good feeling, and the sun comes out and it gets to be 60 degrees and you're like, oh my God, I feel good. So I made sure the last couple of days to log off work, no matter what was going on, made sure to log off by, 5 or 5:30 so I can get out and take a walk. My big old fat gut from eating cheeseburgers and ice cream all day, every day for the last year has really taken a toll. So I'm like, I got to start exercising again. And I never thought of walking as exercise before. Now I'm 39 and I do, because I'm way out of shape and I'm feeling every single little step. So had to get out and enjoy the weather, get some exercise, get a nice long walk in. I start walking today, feeling good. I think I'm feeling good. Couple blocks away from home, still early on in the walk, walking up this street, and I'm approaching where I'm walking in front of this like apartment building, right? It's sitting up on a little hill, but it's far enough away, but it's not too far away. And I can tell that there are a couple people sitting right outside the front door, just sitting on chairs, enjoying the outside. And the first thing I notice is sort of an elderly lady sitting there. And then I kind of noticed somebody sitting with her, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of maybe a younger guy or whatever. and I noticed that they're listening to music. And as I'm walking sort of in front of, getting closer and walking past and in front of the apartment building, I realized they're listening to rap. They're listening to like some serious rap music. And this, it's this 80-year-old lady and this guy. It looks like maybe her grandson or something. Who knows? Maybe their neighbors there or something. But so I'm like, that seems kind of strange that they're listening to music just because of the older lady and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm walking right in front of the place, and I hear, hi. I'm like, and I look up and I look at the lady, and I realize that's the guy that said that, right? So I'm like, okay, being friendly, being nice, or whatever. Hey, how's it going? And then made me feel real special, made me feel like, hey, I still got it. Cause he's like, I ain't seen you around here. And he does this little move where he does something like pushes his hair up, doesn't have long hair, but like acts like he does, or he like strokes the back of his hair or something like that. And he does like this neck thing and rolls his shoulders. And I'm like, hold on. Hold on. I'm like, part of me's like, hey, yeah, big guy still got it.
That's right. You got it.
Good.
You got it.
I got my Kevin Durant shorts on. I got my, my Oak Hills basketball hoodie and everything from coaching. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm feeling good. I got you. I feel you. And the other half is like, is this guy putting on a show for this lady being funny? Or is this guy a cartoon character of a man who loves a man, and this is the man, I'm the man that he loves? And I'm pretty sure it was the second one. And so I was caught off guard. Like the very first thing when he said hi, I look up, I'm like, people outside enjoying the weather too. We're technically neighbors. I live a few blocks over, but we're all in the same neighborhood. And I'm like, okay, hey, how's it going? And yeah, I think he had other things on his mind. I think he wanted to have a further conversation, because then my reaction to that when he said that to me was nervous laughter, probably pick up the pace a little bit and look straight ahead.
You didn't say anything back?
No, right away, I was kind of mad at myself, because I'm like, well, he's either way, it doesn't matter. He's being friendly to me, and he's saying, he's saying, hey, looking swell, old fella. And you got
catcalled, dude. I
got catcalled, and I was like, yeah, thank you. And but I froze because it caught me off guard. And so I wish I had said, oh, thanks, or something like that, at least.
You gotta say 30, 36, 37 years.
What?
Didn't he ask how long you been? Yeah, he said.
No. Yeah, it said something like, I ain't seen you around, or something like that. And then he kept talking to me, and I just kept walking, and he said something about being cute or something like that. I heard that word, and then I'm like, okay. And then all these things going through my mind. I'm like, okay, well, okay, now I think I'm getting the picture of what's going on here. And, and I don't know what to say. So I'm
old boy wanted to play swords.
Well, I
wanted to have a sword fight with you.
Yeah, well, I'm keeping mine in the sheath. So but it was, I called a couple friends, like, hey, I still got it, buddy. I'm looking good today. I can tell you that right now. And it was just it was a fun time. It was a fun time. The rest, I'm walking with my chest out the rest of the time. Like, that's right, fellas, feast your eyes. Or whatever. So anyway,
girls hate it so much. Girls talk about how they can't stand it. Look what it did to your confidence.
I'll tell you what, I was riding high for a little while there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anyway, I just wanted to share that fun story with you. I saw all kinds of crazy things today on the walk, but that was a special moment for me.
You gonna walk that way ever again?
I'm trying to decide. So I was trying to decide the whole time, whether to come back that street or not. I've been switching up my routes, but the last 2 days I have walked up that street. So he didn't see me yesterday, but I was there. Matter of fact, I walked up and back that street. I think yesterday I walked up that street and came back a different way today. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I guess it depends on how my day goes before I go for my walk. If I need a little confidence boost, I might go down that street.
Yeah,
right?
If you need, hey, once again, I believe I used this line earlier today. Close your eyes and it's Halle Berry.
That's right. That's what that meant. Okay. That threw me off the first time, but no, I got what you're saying. Okay. Yep.
There you go.
All right. That was just,
hey, congratulations to you, bud. I'm happy for you.
Hey, thanks. All right. Another guy who, unfortunately, I hate to do a transition like this, but lost his life apparently recently by walking down the street. But it was, I think, from walking, maybe intoxicated or on some drugs or something.
In the middle of the
down
freeway.
a highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And got hit and killed. Unfortunately, is our comedian this week, Erik Myers. And we watched he has a couple of albums out, I guess, and you can find those on YouTube. And this special, it was the live one, right, at the Laugh Factory that you watched. Okay, that was the one I watched too.
Yeah, because I started to go into, there's another one that's a couple years newer than that. This was in 16. Looked like the other one was in 18, but I'm glad we did this one because we'll talk about it.
Well, I watched both, and
I thought about it.
But he had a lot of jokes. He had a lot of the same jokes. So most of
he did.
So yeah, so we were good. So anyway, Erik Myers, if you look for it on YouTube, it's Erik Myers Live. Just go to that one. It's got the big Laugh Factory sign in the back. Chris, what'd you think about Erik Myers?
Oh, man. So I wasn't sure what to think. I thought this guy was going to be kind of a goofball, and he was a goofball. And I thought he was going to be a little over the top, and he was over the top. I've got some notes. I said I wasn't going to write anything down unless I laughed. I got a lot of stuff here. So one of my favorite ones was one of the first ones where he was at a Catholic AA meeting, and they broke out some wine at the end of the AA meeting, and he was like, looked at his sponsor and said, I feel like something's not right here. Don't worry. Once they bless it, it becomes the blood of Christ. He goes, you think they can bless this bag of cocaine? No, officer, this is the dandruff of the Lord. I was cracking up. And then he was talking about, once again, because he's sober at the time, talking about how he said, I don't care if you're drinking alcohol around me. I don't interact with your cup. He said, he's talking about people who smoke weed around him and how they just, take a big inhale and blow it right in his face. Is this bothering you? No, I'm hiring a kite right now. And he said something, does this bother you? The guy's drinking a Corona. He's drinking a Corona. Does this bother you? And he spits all over him. That was pretty funny. Oh, man. Tinder. The Tinder thing. He's talking to must have been when Tinder was fresh out, because he said he doesn't understand Tinder. He goes, especially the girls that have one picture, 5 girls, 4 of them are supermodels, and one of them's a girl in the corner eating a stick of butter. So I didn't know what to say to her. So I said, hey, do you enjoy butter? Oh my gosh, that was funny. He did a good job of bringing Windishins back around. He did a good job of that. He was talking about I don't know if it was dirty movies or what, but he said, is that Jennifer Lawrence or Dingleberry Larry? No, that was the he was talking about homeless people and how they can be sitting and he doesn't know if they're putting on an act or not because they'll be talking to themselves like a schizophrenic, and then just clear as day. Want to know if you got a couple Marlboros and $3. He said, how am I supposed to know? Is that Jennifer Lawrence or Dingleberry Larry? Oh my gosh. Okay. So I wrote something else down I can't understand. I had 3 numbers written down. Part of the way through this, I said, man, I really like this. And I wrote 4.2. And then 3/4 of the way through it, I scratched it out and wrote 4.4. And at the end, I scratched it out and wrote 4.6. This was hilarious. Now, you've got to be able to take this kind of comedy. All right. This ain't for everybody. There's a lot of cussing, a lot of dirty stuff. I loved every second of it. He is so over the top. He made things, his voice is perfect for the way he delivers the jokes. 4.6. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. I'm right there with you. When he first started, the first 10 seconds, I'm like, oh, come on. Is he going to be, do I have to listen to this voice? And is he going to be like, he moved his whole body with every word he said at first. And I'm like, this guy is on an extreme amount of cocaine right now as he's doing this. But I mean, it looked like he was like a crazy, like a homeless drug addict, like you would see on the street going nuts. He kind of looked like that at first to me. He seemed like he was acting like that. And his voice is insane. And I'm like, I don't know if I can stand this whole thing. And it didn't take very long, just a couple minutes. And I started laughing. And then it got better and better and better and better. This guy, I'm so sad that this is the first time I know about this guy. I wish I'd known about him for years because he was apparently doing comedy for a long time. And this guy is so funny. So funny. I wrote down, so he talked about staying in really cheap hotels and saying they want to charge his credit card $65. And he's like, what do you need to charge him at $65 for? Well, in case you damage the room, in case you trash the room, we charge your card $65. And he's like, so it only costs $65 to trash the room? So I'm going to throw the TV out the window.
He said, that's the cheapest thing you can do in Vegas.
That's right. Yeah. His whole bit about using turkey as a natural remedy for anxiety. He had anxiety and they can't give him pills anymore because he'll abuse them. And so they told him to use a natural remedy, and they talked about tryptophan, and he's talking about having to carry around turkey with him all the time. That part was really funny. Let's see. I wrote down a bunch of stuff. So talking about the Tinder thing. Another thing about Tinder was do you like to he's asking a girl, do you like to have you ever had sex on an air mattress? And she's like I am not. Or what did she say? He's like I sleep because I sleep on, or no, hold on, I already messed it up. Anyway, she's like, I am not having sex with you. And he's like, you
still bring
we
over
at least drop the air mattress off because I sleep on the floor. I totally messed that up. That was one of my favorite jokes. He said also my favorite ones. He was talking about when he first started out in comedy. He went to like an open mic night or something, and he had 2 pieces of paper with him because they didn't have cell phones back then. So he had his jokes, a list of jokes written down on one piece, and he had the directions to get to the comedy club on the other piece of paper. And he went up on stage and he said he couldn't remember his joke. So he said, who here has ever, and he took the piece of paper out of his pocket and opened it up and said, taking a left at the light. That was funny. He had a bunch of stuff about jobs he's done, the whole Taco Bell stuff.
Taco Bell was good. The Uber, the star ratings for the passengers on Uber was good.
That was all. Oh yeah, he's talking about being on pills and stuff, and he said something like, he was talking about how easy it is to get like the marijuana, medical marijuana or whatever. He's like, my back hurts. Do you have anything that makes goblins come out of the dishwasher or something like that? That was so good. This guy had some really, really, really funny jokes.
Oh,
I wrote down.
Cracking me up.
So you ended up at 4.6, right?
Yep.
I wrote down 4.5. I had 4.5 written down, so we were right there. One of the best specials that we have watched, in my opinion.
I wish this dude was still alive, because I know last week I was talking about how bad I would feel if I had to say he sucked after he just died. But dude, this guy was hilarious.
Really, really good. Really good. All right. So we have. All right. So we're going to switch it again, and I'm going to go with the comedy this week, and you'll do a Mount Rushmore this week. And then, because you already have a comedy that's going to line up with next week. So
yeah,
I'm going to do something here that I've been wanting to do for a while. It's going to be a little bit older one, but as a matter of fact, sorry, let me, so I have the comedian that I want to do because I've been thinking about this guy for a while. And this is a guy that comedians talk about with a lot of reverence. And he's not one of the guys that you really think about. I'm trying to make sure I find his newest one. I'm just going to go with this one. So, Bill Hicks, if you hear Joe Rogan and a lot of comedians who have been in the game for a long time, talk about this guy as one of the best. He died pretty young. So he's been dead for a while now, but he apparently was one of the best. And I have not watched much Bill Hicks at all. So I've heard about him for a long time. Just haven't made myself sit down and watch a Bill Hicks special. So that is what I want to do, one of those. And look, he's been gone for a while, so it's going to be an older one. So I'm gonna go with, if I can get so let's go with Bill Hicks, Relentless. This is from '92. It's on Netflix. All right.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
On Netflix. Yeah, he's got 3 specials and a documentary about Bill Hicks on Netflix. So yeah, I mean he's got one from 89, 91, and 92 on there. So let's do the newest one, even though it's a million years old. So let's do that one.
I remember this guy. Yeah.
Yep. So we're going Bill Hicks, Relentless.
Yeah.
For next week. And you take a look around the room and see if you can find a
Already got it.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of Jordans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. Jordan shoes.
Yes, Jordan shoes.
If you're listening and you don't know, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you know what we mean when you say Jordans. I mean, I have my easy number 1 already in my head, but this is going to be fun because I'm going to go back because I like every week I got them cycling through already, but I know I'm not thinking about one that I know I'm going to pick or I'm going to have to heavily weigh. This is going to be fun.
Can only pick 4. I love it.
Let's do it.
All right. That sounds good. All right. So on that note, we are an hour and a half in. We got Bill Hicks, Relentless. I just realized that I should probably be a little more quiet because I am in a hotel room, which would make Adam furious if he was here with me. And I was talking.
You aren't screaming, so.
Yeah, that's true. It was a terrible day. Last time Adam was in a hotel room with me was Ohio State Xavier. Oh, bad day. Anyway.
Hey, speaking of Red Spring training, we're going to have Bobby Nightingale on here soon.
Yes, perfect.
And have
Good.
Bobby Knight go on here soon.
Good. Get Bobby on here. We'll get some Red Spring training talk. Are they in? They're not. Are they in Arizona, or are they doing everything from home too?
I think they're in there. I'm pretty positive they're in Arizona. Yeah, because he's done a couple podcasts, I believe, from there.
Has it? Cool. All right, so there you go. So hopefully we get him on shortly. We've got Bill Hicks, Relentless, Mount Rushmore of Jordans. Until then, brother, good luck with you. Hey, no, you know what? Good on you on you feeling good about yourself now. I'm happy that you're feeling good about the way you look. You're not worried about the COVID-19 that you put on, and you got some eyes looking your way. So
COVID-19 meaning the 19 pounds that I've added in the last year.
Yeah, exactly. On that note, don't forget to turn your headlights on.